Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to see a new feature which has been added to the product around auto generation of related entity lookups. This is more of an ease of use kind of a feature where previously it required some manual steps. Any kind of entity system has a concept of relationships. So it would have both parent as well as child entities, or sometimes called as master detail. Now, this kind of relationship is usually defined using some kind of a relation field or foreign key columns in case of a database. Now, AgilePoint always has been handling this in an intelligent way. So, for example, if I am using both fields from a parent entity and a child entity on the same form, AgilePoint automatically used to figure out what value to pass to this foreign key. So, here is an example. So, I have a customer entity and I have the child entity called order history. So if you see, one of the fields over here is called customer order ID. Since I had customer fields on my form, in my order history subform, which is a repeatable subform, I don't have to explicitly put the customer order ID because I'm already aware of the context of the customer under which these orders are being shown. So if I add a new order, it would automatically pick the customer detail. However, there are times when you would want to directly work with the order history table in this case. You might not have fields from the parent table, parent entity on your form. That means you have to specify which customer is this entity directly working with. Now, this previously would have required me to drag and drop this field and populate it in a drop down or some other format where I can pick the customer, which means I had to go and define an lookup. We have simplified this a little bit. So if I go over here and say add an app, I'm going to select form-based application for now. I'm going to go ahead and click next. Now this feature has been enabled for all entity types and not just AgilePoint data entity. Just to show you that concept, let's pick Salesforce, for example. I'm going to give it a nice looking name. I'm going to connect to my Salesforce and just pick opportunity entity in Salesforce. As you can see, opportunity entity has a lot of related entities, one of which is account as well. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. I'm going to click finish. My new application got generated and I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So I'm on my new form right now. I'm going to go with defaults. And as you can see, one of the fields over here is called account ID. Now it doesn't make sense if I drag and drop account ID. Nobody is going to enter account ID as such. They search people with account name rather than account ID. But in the entity, because it was defined as a foreign key, which was account ID, that's what we want to store eventually. Behind the scene, an ID should be stored, but at time of displaying, it should show the name. Also, there are sometimes requirements that, okay, even if the business process is storing back an ID in an email which needs to go out, can I show a display name instead? So we have created, it's a pair of fields if you see. There is account ID and we also generated a field called account ID or whatever is the field name underscore display name. So in your emails, you can use this as well. However, for today's demo, I'm going to stick to the account ID concept. So I drag and drop that onto my form. And as you can see, it generated it as a lookup column. So a special field has been added for this, or a control type. It is called single select lookup. This is only used for auto generation of related entity lookups. If I go into edit mode, here are a few of the properties. So as you can see, it auto generated a lookup for me. If I get into the lookup, It's bringing back the name and ID. Now, if I wanted to fine tune it, I can always fine tune it. But the concept is we are auto generating it for you. You want to show the name column to the user. You can also show the name and value if you want it, just to avoid duplicates. So if there are two John Smiths in an account, you can show his ID as well. For out of the box purposes, we default it to name. So let's go ahead and preview this form. So instead of me writing special logic, putting it in a drop down, it generated an lookup field. I click on it. It shows me all the display names of that account. When I select a particular account, behind the scene, it is storing the ID value of it. Thanks a lot for your time.